BBC Radio London. Time now is 2:22. I wanted to talk about something because, you know, I oftentimes do really wear my heart on my sleeve, and I have in the past talked to you about something very close to my heart. Sadly, a number of years ago, I lost two cousins. They were both sisters, a couple of years apart, to suicide. And I'm going to be talking about this in this part of the show, as this Saturday is International Survivors of Suicide Loss Day. And it's a vitally important day that I really did want to talk about this afternoon, because it's all about survivors of suicide loss who come together. They find connection, they find understanding, and also it's a key message of hope through their shared experience. I do think to a certain degree as well, it's an important time for all of us, whether you've been affected by this or not, to educate ourselves really on the help that we have out there. Because the fact of the matter is, we never know who may need it. Samaritans, of course, is a charity that works with people who are going through a very difficult time. And they also respond to calls for help and act as a listening ear day and night. And joining me on the line now, I have Rich Bartlett, who is a volunteer at Samaritans, and also Bella, who has used and been in touch with Samaritans and now volunteers with them. Rich and Bella, it's really lovely to talk to you, and thank you so much for speaking to me today.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank
you so much for having me today.
I really appreciate it. And I'd like to start off, if I could, firstly, by saying, Rich, there'll be some people who will be tuned into Radio London, and if we're being very frank about it, are just going to feel really uncomfortable with this type of a conversation. Why, from the work that you do with Samaritans, do you think it is vitally important that we talk about International Survivors of Suicide Loss Day?
I think it's a really important topic because it's something which is often not talked about. A lot of the time in the UK, we don't like to talk about our emotions, talk about our feelings, talk about difficult things that happen to us. So I think it's super important to lean into this and really make sure that we give it the voice and time it needs.
And so when we delve into the work that Samaritans does, can you just share a little bit around the types of, support Samaritans provide?
Sure. So Samaritans' main ways that we support people are through our phone line service, which is available 24/7, as well as our web chat, email and letter service. But we also do a bit of other work, for example, in schools, in the workplace, with the armed forces, all around mental health.
And can I bring you into this conversation now, Bella, just in that context? In your own words, are you able to tell us about your experience navigating mental health and what led you to contact the Samaritans?
Sure. Thank you so much, Shay, for that. I'm diagnosed with bipolar, and bipolar does have a symptom of suicidal thoughts. And 3 years ago, I experienced suicidal thoughts, and I did try to end my life. And I got tremendous support from the Samaritans. I got tremendous support that I was just in a lot of despair and didn't know what to do. I felt very alone. I contacted Samaritans at the time I needed, even when I was admitted into hospital on the same day, the mental health hospital. And 3 years later, I still contact the Samaritans for support.
It sounds, and firstly, I just want to take a moment, Bella, to say thank you so much for sharing, clearly something that is so difficult to talk about. But I know from having spoken to the team that you really wanted to come on the radio to talk about the Samaritans and how much they've been there for you, to the point that actually you decided to now volunteer for them as well. How much support have they provided for you that has really been beneficial on a daily basis?
Well, for the first thing is that during the months that led up to me becoming really, really unwell. I tremendously felt alone and lonely. And I also felt that with my struggles with bipolar and very bad depression, that it was just me feeling like this. And sometimes, like, to confide in someone, we all live busy lives. So you don't want to bother someone with a busy life. But equally, when you're at that desperate stage of no hope, you're scared to tell someone because you may not want them to tell you to do something. You just want someone to listen. So in the end, you can be quite isolated. So it was a magical gift when I found out about Samaritans. And I'll never forget the first call. Because when I called, I thought they may have been interrogating me. Oh, why are you calling us? What's happened? Like a detail. And it was nothing like that. It was such a warm voice. And they didn't even say, how do you want to start? I just started talking because it was so warm. And one of the things I remember till this day, and every single call they say, you can call us back anytime. And to hear that and to know that they were 24 hours, it was like one wok of that 1 million wok I had in my rucksack that eased me and that motivated me to reach out again, that I wasn't alone.
You know, as you're talking, Rich, as Bella's talking, Rich, I suspect a lot of what she's sharing will really resonate in terms of from the various calls that you get at Samaritans. And if someone's tuning in and they're listening to Bella's experience and they can really relate to it, what would you want to say to them just around this aspect of, as Bella said there, the feeling so isolated and not really knowing what to do next?
I would definitely remind them that they're not alone. At Samaritans, as Bella discussed, we're able and wanting to help 24/7. Doesn't matter how big or small your problems feel, we're here for you day and night to listen, and it's for a range of concerns, whether you're feeling a little bit isolated, lonely, want to discuss family, relationship problems, physical health. We're definitely here alongside a range of other amazing organisations.
And can I ask you, Bella, and thank you for that, Rich, from all that you've been through, and now obviously you're at the point now where, you know, thank you again for coming on BBC Radio London to talk about your personal experience. What is it that you would want to say to somebody who, you know, is going through this, or maybe it could be that they suspect someone is struggling to navigate their mental health? What would you want to say, you know, if you're a friend or a family member? What kind of thoughts would you want to share?
Sure. I can speak directly and only from my experience because I'm 3 years on and I can say I'm living a fabulous life. I want that word fabulous to be resignated.
Yes.
But every day I still remember the pain and support I got. And I still remember the day, this time 3 years ago. So I want to speak at that day 3 years ago when I was totally hopeless. I may not have had the friend support I needed and I felt alone. So I'd like to let the listeners know, anybody that's sitting, travelling by tube or at work listening to this, I want you to know, first of all, you are valuable and you're worth it in this life, first of all. And your life is worth it. And you may not feel it today, but it's worth it. And to let you know that you are not alone, that whether it's depression, anxiety, stress, all of us go through this, but not many people share, so you may not know. But all of us go through this. And that whether you may be educated on it or not have awareness that Samaritans exist or other organisations, there is support out there and there is treatment of support out there. So if it means you don't have the courage to go to your GP, or you don't have the courage to pick up the phone. There's more than one solution of help. And what I would say is, please just reach out and talk to somebody. Because one of the things I didn't know and I wasn't educated about was like therapy or talking therapy. And Samaritans allows you to talk. So it's about allowing yourself, whatever you're going through in your mind, to let it travel from your mouth, through your mouth and talk. Because the moment you talk and open out, it will relieve you. And I wish maybe 3 years ago, I might have known Samaritans earlier, because it would have helped just by talking.
Bella, I have to say thank you so much for just opening up here on BBC Radio London, and also Rich as well for joining me. Rich Bartlett, who's a volunteer at Samaritans, and Bella, who made use of Samaritans and now volunteers with them. I really do appreciate, Bella, you speaking to me and just talking about what you went through, but also your journey, as you say, this fabulous life that you're living now. And it's so important to hear your story here on Radio London. So thank you for joining me today.
If you think or feel